The International Monetary Fund says African countries hit by commodity slump must recalibrate their debt. Nigeria, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire and other sub-Saharan African countries raised over $17 billion from bond issuance in 2018. Plus, the United Nations backs AFDB's $10 billion power initiative. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Business Incorporated. I'm Chimezi Obi Iwagu. Let's get started with the markets, and we'll begin with markets here in Africa, which started the new month trading in the positive territory at intraday. Now, the JSE index in South Africa was up the most at 0.16%. The NSE and EGX 30 were both up 0.03% at intraday. Kenya closed in the red on Wednesday. In the Gulf region, market sentiments were mixed at intraday. Qatar's blue chip index was up 0.77%, lifted by a 10% gain for drilling rig provider Gulf International Services, while Dubai's index added 0.25%, helped by a 2.6% rise by Emma Properties and a 2.2% gain in Dubai investment. Meanwhile, the Abu Dhabi index was down 0.30%, and the Saudi Arabian index shed 0.12% at intraday. In Europe, stocks followed their U.S. counterparts lower this morning after the Federal Reserve chairman hinted that lower rates may not be in the cards. Earnings releases are also trickling into the market. Let's talk to my colleague in Frankfurt, Ashutosh Pandey, joining us now to give us some more details from the European space. Hello, Ashutosh. Welcome back from the holiday yesterday. I hope you did enjoy yourself.
Hi, Chimi. It's good to be back on Channels TV. Yes, it was a great break and back to the grind today.
Oh, you're welcome. Now, German car maker Volkswagen saw its operating income fall in the first quarter, mainly hurt by market slowdown and fresh charges from the diesel gate. Now, the company set aside €1 billion for additional legal risks from the diesel emission scandal. How are investors reacting to Volkswagen's results?
Well, Chimi, the investors here certainly cheered the results from Volkswagen, and that actually sent the shares up around 5%. They are the biggest movers on DAX today. And that's mainly because the investors are really happy about the fact that Volkswagen maintained its profit outlook for the year despite having seen an increase in legal costs. You just mentioned the $1 billion that the company has set aside, and also the fact that there has been a market slowdown, especially in China, where Volkswagen sold around 40% of its cars last year. And the Chinese market hasn't been doing well for the past 10 quarters, and they have seen a downturn. The auto industry, they have seen a downturn for the past 10 quarters. So the investors were definitely enthused that the auto company did manage to maintain its guidance, and also the fact that the core Volkswagen brand, the results there was quite good. They saw their sales go up 7%. Remember, this is the division, the brand actually that sells 50% of the cars by Volkswagen.
The U.S. is also a key market for the Volkswagen. What has the car maker said about President Donald Trump's threat of potential tariff?
Well, that remains a major concern. We had the CFO of Volkswagen say today that they remain optimistic about the dispute being resolved, but they are also realistic. Volkswagen Chief Executive Officer Herbert Diess has said in the past that the tariffs could be the single biggest threat to the profits this year, and he estimated that around 2.5 billion euros, it could cost them around 2.5 billion euros. That is around 13% of the expected earnings. So that's huge. Because US is a key market for Volkswagen, and like 100% of the Porsches that actually are in the US are exported from Europe. And US is also a key market for the Audi, another profitable brand for Volkswagen.
Well, let's look at some of the data coming in. Of course, a host of them has been released this morning, including factory output numbers for the Eurozone and all-important Bank of England decision on interest rates. Tell us more.
Yeah, Chimi, so the Purchasing Managers Index, that's a that's a gauge for the factory output that saw a contraction for the third straight quarter in Eurozone, for the third straight month, pardon me. So there was a contraction there, but the contraction was at a slower pace than March. So that's a positive that investors actually took in from that. And the good thing was that the top 4 economies of the Eurozone, the PMI index actually improved in Germany, Italy, France, and Spain, with Spain actually seeing an expansion. Germany still is seeing a contraction, but numbers were better than that they saw in March. Having said that, the next set of data was from the Bank of England. They've maintained the interest rate at 0.75%. However, diverging from other central banks, they do mention that they would be increasing gradually the interest rates, and they expect it to go up gradually. But that would actually depend on the outcome of Brexit, and also the fact that the inflation is around 2% target that the bank has set. And the bank has raised the forecast for this year's growth to 1.5% from 1.2%, citing more stability and strengthening of the global economy.
All right, Ashutosh. One day more to end the week. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the week, of the day. Thank you for your time.